Alright guys, so this video is on how some of the companies in the trucking industry take advantage of their drivers and just the people around them, and Swift is our first case study because it's a lot of information on there. These companies take a lot from other people, so it's more for them and less for the people under them. This video is absolutely not about me, but I did work for Swift Transportation in there. I never have done over the road or any other dedicated. Now I have heard that they treat you a little better if you're doing dedicated on a good dedicated run, but over the road they make low just like intermodal would make, and we made really low pay. It was about 36 cents per mile, and then I think it was like $40 per the drop. And being a rookie, I thought maybe that's how it works. Since you're getting extra money on the side, I thought, okay, maybe 36 cents. Of course, I knew that was low because I worked at other companies and they was paying like in the 50-cent range, 55, 45, 50 cent. But I was like, okay, well, it's an extra $40, so maybe that's why they go so low. When I first got started, I had went in, I believe, about March or April to do my orientation. But then they said they'll call us when everything is done. And I was kind of confused. Like, why would you bring us out here if you didn't even finish all the paperwork and stuff like that? A lot of the trucking companies do lie about how many miles that you're going to get, which, that equals out to how much pay you're going to get. And I got a call from a man. I can't remember his name right now, but he told me that he told me the schedule. I can pick my own schedule. I can pick what time I start and what time I'm going to stop, because all you're doing is going to different rail yards. Now, for the empty miles, they were not trying to pay the empty miles unless you were going over 50 miles and then you got the extra $40. But other than that, like mileage pay for empty miles, they're not going to pay them, besides the, like I said, the 36 cents. But of course, you're not going to get that extra $40 because it's not a drop. So just think about all the money they're collecting with only paying the driver 36 cents a mile and $40 a drop. And then they got so cheap, I told a driver that currently worked there at the time that he told me this, they stopped paying that $40 for that empty mileage. Like, all you was going to get was the 36 cents. So, of course, they lost a lot of drivers that way. And I seen $1,500 maybe 1 week, but other than that, it was going down every week to, like, the lowest pay I got was about $900 a week. And that's crazy pay for driving a commercial vehicle. This is just some insight. I have a lot of pictures when I was at Swift Transportation that I might add and I might not. I got to think about it. Oh, that is the day that I went to go pick up my truck, which I was not able to pick it up because it had a lot of issues, especially like this ball spare tire, the check engine light was on. And that was kind of like the conditions that they expected a new driver to pick up their truck and spare tires, and my tires ended up blowing later on. I feel like because of that, because the tires on the truck, they was kind of bald too a little bit. I did go ahead and refuse the truck when I first got it, but they said they was doing work on it, but they really didn't. And I brought the truck back a couple more times, but they was like, I forgot what they do. Like when they don't get you no new tire, they retread it and stuff like that. And it's not safe to be doing that in this commercial vehicle. So if you're in the trucking industry, you know that Swift has been in plenty of lawsuits, like stealing from CRST, the situation when they were like, it was like a dispatcher spying on the drivers, which now that's why they don't allow the in-cab facing camera. So Swift ended up stealing a lot of CRST drivers, and CRST, they're not the best company either, but they got sued for millions of dollars because they were stealing their drivers. Basically, they were having people go get trained over there with them, and then they were just stealing their drivers afterwards, after CRST did all the work and took all the risk. Another case just came out last year. Bloomberg reported on it about Swiss Transportation can't escape drivers off-duty claims. Basically, you were saying that the drivers off duty, like, you're not going to pay them because they're not working, but you're making them stay with these loads, so they should be getting paid something. Doesn't matter if it was $10 an hour, like for their 11 and stuff like that, or maybe it was only $75, but you should pay the drivers something. Especially like Swift Transportation does have them over the road drivers sitting for days sometimes because they don't have a load. Same thing when I was with Intermodal. We did not have work all the time. They would make an excuse like, oh, the train is stuck here, the train is stuck there. But people still have to feed their families, especially the over the road drivers, because they're away from their families. I was Intermodal. I was home every night. But it's different like when you're over the road. Another thing I want to mention about Swift, and this is honestly why they get a lot of flack, is about their training program. I didn't have a problem with training because I already had a little bit of experience before I went there, and I did not get training, period. All I had was like a guy go out with me for like a day, and he just showed me how to get in and out of the rail yards. But it's people that get their CDL at Swift, or maybe they went to a company for a month, so they got to get retrained again at Swift. I think they should increase their training requirements to about 2 years and have a real like guideline of like treatment and what they supposed to really be training these people on, and making sure they're actually training these people on this kind of stuff so they won't have the problems that they often run into, which is they have a lot of accidents, because I believe they're like the second largest company, followed by JB Hunt, besides like UPS and FedEx, like those kind of agencies. But before I built my social media following, I was always in Facebook groups. So I'm not going to lie. I had one young lady, she had called me one day and she told me about her trainer. Like, he wasn't training her. He was making her do all the driving, and he made sexual advances at her like within their first 2 days. So they really got to get a hold of that. For years, they've been having a huge class action lawsuit about their mileage pay. But mileage pay for Swift and most other companies is warped, especially if you don't have like a timer for them, like when they first start driving to when they finish driving. Because if you're claiming mileage, but you're not paying them all the mileage, like a lot of them do zip code to zip code and they're not paid all the mileage, which is totally unfair. You're driving, like you have to use your on duty and off duty time. It's just not fair for the driver, and that's how a lot of these trucking companies steal. Companies, period, but trucking companies we're talking about today. And it's just not fair. And like they even say, you're calculating the shortest mile. I actually went through that in Tyson Foods. It was supposed to be like 150 miles, but they're making me take all back roads, which is taking longer, but they're paying me the shortest mile. So like, it's like really like 150 miles, but they're paying me for 90 miles. Doing this story is just making me aggravated at how much these trucking companies just take advantage of their drivers, and like how everyone just lets them get away with it. Like, why would you not be getting all your pay? Like I said, especially if you're doing mileage. If you are doing mileage, you definitely should be getting all the pay. Stop all that. Oh, you're not getting paid for the first hour of detention, or you're not getting paid because it's empty miles. No, you're moving that truck. And it would mean a lot. I really thank everybody for watching, especially if you got to this point of the video. And let me know any other companies that you want me to do, because I might make this like a little series. I was going to, but I don't know. But I might make it a series if y'all want it. Now, it would mean a lot if you guys hit that like button and let me know what y'all think. Leave a comment down below, like how you feel about this whole situation. Have you been through anything like this at a trucking company? Have you been through anything like this at Swift Transportation? And do you think what they're doing is fair? And these are just the facts. All right, so we also have a case against Swift Transportation, and one of their former drivers. And he claims they're making him drive bad equipment. And I can definitely attest to that being true. And as a result, the driver was fired. Another thing, when you leave these companies, they put bad stuff on your deck report, even if it was not necessarily true. Say you took your truck back to transportation, sometimes they do put stuff on there that did not necessarily happen. And depending on how bad it is, it can ruin your trucking career. It was a lot of back and forth between Swift and this employee, and luckily he did win. They wanted him to drive without all the proper paperwork, and he did win because they fired him the next day, and I'm glad that he won.
Last 3 weeks, I mean, every basically check has been pretty weak for me with Swift, man. I'm not gonna lie. I'm gonna be real transparent with you. If you are a new grad or whatever, if you're gonna go with Swift, if you have to, get on a dedicated account or even a local. I mean, it'd probably be better just to get 21 and 22 an hour, to be honest. At least you're getting paid per hour, you know what I mean? Like, because dude, regional or OTR, it's chump change, bro. I'm telling you right now. It's like, bro, I'm getting $600 to $650, sometimes $700 a check, bro. It's bad. Like, my first road trip out all over the road, I spent 17 days on the road straight, bro. I got like $700 a week. Like, bro, this is ridiculous, bro. Like, I can make $800 working 6 hours a day with Uber like I used to, bro. Like, this is stupid.
There are 5 things Swift doesn't want you to know and have to pay you for. And the reason why I know these things is because I used to be a mentor for Swift. Number 1, if another driver leader ever calls you to swap loads with one of his drivers, don't accept anything under $200 minimum. Number 2, if you run reefer and you clean out your own trailer, they have to pay you for that. So do as I did, get a receipt book, let them know, and scan it in as an expense. Number 3, if another driver leader or even yours tells you to stop and inspect his reefer trailers to see if they're clean or have fuel, don't take anything less than a minimum of $50 per trailer. And number 4, don't ever recover a truck for them, because for those 4 or 5 days that you're out, you're only getting $200.
See, again, about the bad equipment, and Swift has enough money to have good equipment. And this basically confirms what the first driver was saying, but a lot of those drivers will say that, but they'll still be at Swift about 2 years later, which isn't the greatest, because it don't make Swift night transportation feel like they're doing a good job, when actually they need to pay their drivers more. Like, I would say at least a guarantee of at least $1,300 a week for everybody. So just do your research if you want to go to a company like this. They have angry drivers, and then they have some of the drivers, they think it's okay, and they've been there about 20 years, and some drivers they stay for a day. And I feel like this review just sums up my whole entire point. So drivers just want a fair wage. No one wants to work 70 hours a week, which is almost double of the average person, and then they're not even able to pay their bills, or they're struggling still at the end of the week. So truck drivers, they just want to be paid fair for the work that they put in. Pay for every mile.